We were 86 volunteers gathered at the Arnold Arboretum to learn about trees, how to name them and how to describe them, healthy or hazard. We were to become the citizen inventory specialists of Brookline as we would walk the neighborhoods counting street trees. But this is how it started, with a pop tree quiz. Mary, looking at a number 5 tree, would be one of my team members on tree counting weekend, but I didn't know that yet.
Harry's. Yeah. Okay, I think
John Bolduck, Brookline Conservation Director, was there, orchestrating and helping everything run smoothly. Indoors, more information and orientation. Sarita, the woman in green, was to be the 3rd member of our team. Here was the meat of our training, walking the paths and slopes of the Arnold Arboretum and looking at trees, looking closely at trees with Arboretum staff member Chris Strand.
The American plane tree, you see single fruit hanging down. And if you were to look at the Asian plane tree, Platanus orientalis, you'd see 3 fruit hanging down. Oh. So the hybrid has, in general, 2 fruit hanging down. Isn't that convenient? And occasional 1s and occasional 3s.
We were looking at shapes, the canopy, the leaves, the bark, any identifying characteristics.
That's a leaf. Yeah, this whole leaf is what you look at when you're considering whether it's opposite or alternate. Boy, this is a fantastic day to be walking around.
It was a beautiful day for walking around and observing some human characteristics as well.
Is petiole the stem?
Petiole, exactly.
10-year-old Max was the youngest volunteer to go through the training. He was with his sister Josie and his dad Richard. They had decided to learn about trees together.
Now, once you've done about 20 trees, you're going to find that this is really going to pick up the pace. All right?
The purpose of the street tree inventory, according to UMass Associate Professor, Arborist, and Project Director Dennis Ryan, is to find out what we have, where it is, and what condition it's in. Here, we're learning to measure trees by finding the diameter at breast height, the DBH.
When I look at a tree, I see too many things. And what you had to do is you had to get the volunteers to just look for particular things. So, you know, there are certain things that were quantitative, doing the diameter, the DBH. That is just teaching them how to measure. That's simple. Even the tree ID is kind of quantitative. You know, it's a maple or it's a little leaf linden, and you can teach those things. It's the subjective factors that become more critical. And the main thing we were looking for, the absolute main thing, was to be able to identify a tree that's a hazard.
Using computer technology is an important part of this project. All the information we would gather about street trees would be placed in a geographic information system, allowing the tree data to be combined with geographic information. So not only how many trees, but where they are in relation to each other, to streets, or to utility wires, ultimately giving the town much more information for planning. Counting day. Sarita is getting our team's street maps, data recorder, useful handouts.
So what you want to do is see which maps you're doing and get oriented to that area.
David Bluniars, UMass Amherst research assistant and volunteer godfather, got us moving in the right direction.
We get to keep our maps overnight. What's the difference? One has serrations and one doesn't. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, it's definitely
a deep cavity. Yeah.
Poor is general state of decline, may show severe mechanical insect or disease damage, but is not dead. May require repair or renovation. Boy, this is an old one.
That's an oldie, yeah. This is definitely going to be our biggest tree.
Branches have broken off over time.
Yeah. It's an old tree.
What do you think the condition is?
Look at it, it's got all these, what do they call these things?
Do we need any management on this? Pruning, tree consult?
Okay, now we have honey locust.
cellulosic is
GT.
GT.
Five.
Five. Five. Okay. Good condition?
Yeah. Cellulosic seem to be very good condition.
Yeah. And it has
Hugh Madison, Brookline Green Space Alliance member and chairman of the tree planting committee, was everywhere, visiting teams, documenting their progress, and learning more about trees himself.
What has constantly amazed me is the fact that people can be out for 2 days, 2 8-hour days, walking the streets of Brookline and come back with a smile on their face. And after 2 days last weekend, we found that, in fact, people were coming back and implying that they'd be willing to do more.
In 2 weekends, 100 people counted over 8,000 trees. The town of Brookline is well on its way to having a greatly improved database of street tree information to aid in management and planning. The UMass Amherst Urban Forest Management Project has pulled off a huge undertaking that involved many layers of a community: town government, citizen advocacy groups, and enthusiastic volunteers. David Bloniars.
As the people who are overseeing these projects, it becomes important to find the people that are the stakeholders and get together with them and combine into a unified effort. And that's what we're doing here in Brookline, and I'd have to say successfully, just based on the enthusiasm of the volunteers.
My weekend counting trees was a success for me. I have 2 new friends. I explored a part of Brookline I hadn't known well, and I look at my surroundings in a different way. Although our training taught us to look at individual trees, I've taken the idea of the urban forest to heart. I see our trees now as part of a whole, a system that's entwined with the overall well-being of our community.